Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
The format of the hardcore has changed this time. You're the first experiment, so to speak, based on the Trump transition, which, of course, I predicted, but anyway, be that as it may. And the way we approach the case studies is going to change, which you'll see because you'll be OJT, on-the-job training. I don't know if they still use that terminology anymore. Because until I'm blue in the face or until, I piss myself, I keep screaming certain things and nobody pays attention. And we're going to delve into, thank you, Duncan. We're going to delve into more why you don't pay attention. When you left the regular seminar, I sent you out on a suicide mission. But you didn't believe me. I told you to come back with your shield or on it, as the Spartan mothers used to tell their kids. You didn't believe me. Hence, most of you in this room haven't done anything, or I'm not so sure it's worse. It's not worse, that's not a word. You've done them wrong. More than one of you in this room has had to compile more than one board. More than one of you in this room has gone to chairmen and or CEOs and or CFOs like shit through a goose. When the instructions were extremely clear, some of you in this room went out as if you never attended the seminar. Now, going back to the suicide mission, now that is a suicide mission. Even though there's one guy in here that came a few years ago, so he didn't pay 27,000 pounds. But even though that's not money in the real world, for some of you, it's a lot of money. And for some of you, you had a mortgage or save or whatever. Okay? Yet you still didn't listen. Now, notwithstanding, we have a very, very, very high success ratio post hardcore. I mean, that's why some of you are here. We do have a very high success ratio. Now, and I stopped maybe, 15 years ago, trying to figure out why. But you've heard the story of the 13-year-old kid and the 12-year-old kid that took 12 years and 13 years, respectively, to get a deal done. And I tell you all, it doesn't have to be that way, and you all go, it's not going to be me. And you bullshit each other and jerk each other's pud, or 2 centimeters pud. You're going to be different. And yet, not necessarily the people in this room, but we've got a lot of people on a 10, 12-year program. Now, I know better about marketing not to publish all those numbers. But maybe I should. I said when Trump ran the first time, before he got beat by Biden, I'm not going to argue whether he really got beaten or not. I don't really give a shit. As far as I'm concerned, he lost a second life. I said we were going to witness the greatest transformation of wealth the planet has ever seen. I said it a million times would be a Trump exaggeration. But I certainly said it hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. But nobody listened. Nobody listened. When I say nobody, that's not exactly true. A few hundred people listened. I have probably 50 people or 80 people that if I tell them to shit on their 4-year-old's head, they'll shit on their 4-year-old's head. I mean, they do exactly what I tell them to do. But for the most part, as I tried to explain to you, in the world, that most people do not just QLA and the steps, which are pretty defined. They do it if it's convenient. It's convenient. And God knows that most of the things that I asked you to do or told you to do weren't convenient. During the same time frame, we had a plethora of fake news. Now, this never even got to the news. It was all over in America. Fight at Buckingham Palace Christmas party. But not on BBC, not on CNN, not on Sky News, ITV. You couldn't hear it. But when Sally and I were in the colonies, as we call them, I mean, it was on every fucking news station. A bust-up. And I predicted, I didn't accuse MI5 directly, that the girl that started the fight was either Scottish or Irish. There was no doubt in my military or fucking civilian mind that the one that started the goddamn fight was Scottish or Irish. Her name has been, it's a she, her name has been hidden to protect the guilty or whatever, some shit like that. I don't know. But we still have a plethora of fake news. Now, unfortunately, this isn't fake for those of us that live here. This is a joke that the Prime Minister goes to meet the ruling family of Saudi Arabia, the guy that runs Saudi Arabia, for help. Are you fucking kidding me? He should be tried for treason. He's a fucking idiot. The Saudis will pick this country blind. They're 1,000 times smarter. They have 1 trillion times more money than we do. And this fucking moron, who apparently lied to the public, and he's got the lowest approval rating in the history of I don't know what. There he is. Well, the only one that had a lower approval rating than he did was the guy that came back from Hitler with a piece of paper. The prime minister says, there's going to be no war. And Hitler invaded Poland the next day. Now, some of you in this room, all of you in this room, suffer from what's Parkinson's law. If you're given forever to get a deal done, you're going to take forever to get it done. As I told you during the regular seminar, the seminar is built for 1 deal a month, every 30 days, once you put the dream team together, which should take you 30 to 45 days. But most of you in this room are at the right hand of that slide, not the left hand. Because we still all have this, myself included. Myself included. Now, what's happened when some of you went home, although none of your wives called me, I went back and checked this afternoon, or wrote us letters, which sometimes happens. And I think I told you during the seminar when you were here that we had an Italian lawyer, mob lawyer, from Brooklyn. His wife called the office and cried. Everybody turned him into a beast like he was when he was in the hood. And this is a guy that took a bullet, literally, in the back, paralyzed from the waist down, to help his sister in a shootout in Brooklyn when they were kids. But you've given additional baggage to your families, because now they got to deal with you. They don't want to deal with you. I don't have to go around and call them or write them emails. You are a new hemorrhoid to them. Because the biggest fear is, what if the little tub of shit actually does it? What if that 25 or 30 or 35 grand, really, they didn't piss it down a rat hole? Or he didn't, or she didn't piss it down a rat hole. That's what they're afraid of more. What if you really are the first person to be, by some loose definition, super successful? Now, I didn't do my best during the first seminar you came to. And somebody in this room has been to the hardcore once before. I did what I know works, which transcends my best, to change your DNA. I'm watching a program, and I teased Sally about it. It's called Wolf Hall on BBC. It's about King Henry VIII. And I pray every night now, since I started watching it, that Sally's part of that Hall family, which was the bastard descendants and a few legal ones from King Henry VIII, because, we'd have a proper castle. We'd be living in Buckingham Palace maybe. But this, and the way we regenerated the seminar going forward starting tomorrow morning is going to be different based on all the knowledge that I've got, plus knowing Mr. Trump. Because when they sneeze in America, we catch a cold. They're already making changes in Europe. They're already making changes in Australia. They're already even making changes in South America based on Trump coming in. Now they're sucking his ass. And believe me, full disclosure, I knew him a long time ago. Nobody loves an ass sucking more than the president-elect. Nobody. Maybe that's why he doesn't have to drink. But because you paid, and because I didn't get elected and got crushed in the election back in July, here we are at hardcore. And with Trump, we're going to have about 3 more years, not 4 years, even though his term's 4 years, because he's going to spend the last year of his presidency rewriting history, like all presidents do, with libraries and stuff like that. So we've got 3 solid years, irrespective if you're from the United States or not, of changes. Now, speaking of changes, I was knighted recently by the Catholic Church in their infinite fucking wisdom, which shows that even saying bad words, you can still get some accolades, religious accolades. And St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City on 7th of December. 7th of December. Quite an experience, considering I'm a wannabe altar boy. I never could be an altar boy when I was little. I never talked about it to my family. We either didn't have the money for the uniform. I don't know why, but I wasn't an altar boy. Okay, not every, but almost every little 6 to 8-year-old kid that was raised in the Catholic religion, like I was, I wanted to be an altar boy and got to be an altar boy. So I waited 40 years for this. And even though some of you, without giving up, and even though some of you said that you haven't given up, in my eyes you have. Thank you. Now, there's no homework per se in the seminar, although we'll give you stuff to do as groups. You're going to be split up into 4 groups, and you'll be in 4 different places in the castle. And we'll meet here in the morning at 9, and we will go through some current events, any changes in the schedule or the agenda, and then you will go I will assign you, I will give you a thumb drive that has the cases that you're going to work on. Some of the cases you're going to work on are the cases you brought yourself. Some of the cases are not that you just brought them from Harvard or Princeton or Yale, but that you're actually working on. Some of the cases you've worked on and failed at, and some of the cases, 1 or 2, you were successful. You were successful. But during the same time frame that some of you, since the last time you were here, we talk more about it tomorrow morning in some detail, we've had some stratospheric, and that really doesn't give it justice, success stories in the hundreds of millions, which is pretty phenomenal. It's not pretty phenomenal vis-a-vis, I'm surprised it's happening. I'm surprised that we haven't had more. But even just in the last 12 months, and 3 or 4 of you attended the seminar earlier this year, and you're back for, as they say, another dose of Dan. The world is our oyster. And even though I screened for 7, 8, 9 years that interest rates were at a 5,000-year low, very few of you listened. Okay, You now wish you had listened. And for those of you that went and did deals and used variable, and I told you don't use variable rates, use fixed rates, but you didn't. You went and used variable rates. And now most of you that have debt service are fucked, as you should be, because you didn't listen. We're going to have some other words of wisdom, pearls, as they say, what you should be doing going forward from when you leave here. And even though it's the end of the year, a couple of you are on the cusp, as they say, of doing a deal, and deals do get done this time of the year. And Oliver Cromwell, who was the Rasputin for King Henry VIII, apparently I've always said that, as you've heard me say, if you don't ask, you don't get, according to Bruce the Whipple. Well, actually, Oliver Cromwell said it in 1537. If you don't ask, you don't get. And so I'm going to have to restructure some of my slides because they were saying that. But he was talking about sins of the flesh. And I don't believe that Bruce ever asked that. Well, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, vis-a-vis for sins of the flesh. Any questions? Okay.